More people are asking about revocable trusts lately. Can you explain what they are and why they're becoming more common in estate planning?
Absolutely. A revocable living trust is a legal document that lets someone, called the grantor, put assets into the trust and still keep full control of them. As the name suggests, the trust can be revoked or changed at any time as long as you're alive. And the grantor often serves as a trustee, meaning they continue to manage their own assets just as they would if they owned them outright. And it's also, you use your social security number as the tax ID number of the trust. You don't have separate taxes for it.
Great to know. So, what happens to the property in the trust after the grantor passes away?
Good question. When the grantor dies, any property that's already in the trust is distributed according to the instructions laid out in the trust document, not through the person's will. And there's no downside to that because anything you put in a will, you can also include in a revocable living trust. In this instance, instead of having your usual like 15 or 20 page will, you have a shorter will, and it's called a pour over will. And basically, what the pour over will does says everything I own that's not in the revocable living trust, I hereby give to my revocable living trust to be disposed of as laid out for the trustee in the trust document.
Why would someone choose a revocable trust instead of just using a will?
Well, I think for a lot of people a lot of people, the main reason is to avoid probate. Probate is the court supervised process of administering a will, and it can be time consuming, expensive, and public. With a revocable trust, you can bypass the court system entirely, which means fewer delays, lower costs, and more privacy. Now, in some jurisdictions, probate isn't a terribly onerous process, and it doesn't necessarily mean like everybody needs a revocable living trust. But, in addition to the time and expense, like the privacy is a big part. And it also, like what we've talked about a little bit in some of our other videos, is it can be a way to give your successor trustee an easier path in making sure they take care of you while you're alive and then distribute things when you pass.
That sounds great. But is it realistic for someone to move all of their property into a trust?
Not always. It could be tough to transfer every single asset into the trust. That's why we usually recommend having the simple pour over will as a backup. That way, any property you forget to transfer during your lifetime can be added to the trust after your death. We see a lot of people, as they age, they continue to open accounts or move things from one account to another. And yeah, it sometimes might be hard for somebody to remember everything.
Interesting. Are there any other benefits of using a revocable trust?
Sure. One of the big advantages is how the trust can help if the grantor becomes disabled or incapacitated. The trustees, often a trusted family member or advisor, can step in and manage the assets without needing a court-appointed guardian or using a power of attorney. It offers a lot more flexibility and continuity.
I've heard people say that a revocable trust can help save on estate taxes. Is that true?
Well, you probably listen to the wrong TikTok influencers. That's a really common misconception. Unfortunately, no. Revocable trusts don't offer any special tax savings. For state tax purposes, the assets are treated the same as if the person still owned them outright.
Thanks, Mike. That really clears up a lot. Revocable trust sound like a powerful tool, but they aren't a one size fits all solution.
Exactly. They can be incredibly useful, but it's important to understand how they work and when they make sense in someone's overall estate plan.